The conflict between Palestine and Israel is one of the most well-known and long-lasting disputes in the world. It has shaped the lives of millions and continues to make headlines today. In this narration, we will break down the conflict step by step using clear and simple language to help you understand its roots, development, and current situation. Let's start with a summary. The conflict between Palestine and Israel is mainly about land, identity, and rights. Both Israelis and Palestinians claim the same land as their home. Over time, wars, agreements, and failed negotiations have shaped their relationship. The issue is complex, but by understanding the main events and ideas, we can get a clearer picture of why this conflict continues. Now let's go back in time to see how it all started. The land known as Israel and Palestine is in the eastern part of the Mediterranean Sea. For thousands of years, different groups have lived there, including Jews, Christians, and Muslims. In ancient times, this area was home to the Jewish kingdoms of Israel and Judah. Over the centuries, many empires have ruled this land, such as the Romans, Byzantines, and Ottomans. In the late 1800s, a movement called Zionism began. Zionism was started by Jews in Europe who wanted to create a safe homeland for Jewish people. They chose the area known as Palestine, where their ancestors had lived long ago. At that time, Palestine was mostly inhabited by Arab people, who had lived there for generations. After World War I, the Ottoman Empire collapsed, and Britain took control of Palestine. The British allowed more Jewish people to move there. This led to tensions between the Jewish and Arab communities, as both groups wanted the land for themselves. In 1947, the United Nations suggested a plan to divide Palestine into two separate countries. One for Jews, called Israel, and one for Arabs, called Palestine. Jerusalem, a city important to Jews, Christians, and Muslims, would be an international city, not belonging to either side. The Jewish leaders accepted the plan, but the Arab leaders did not, because they believed it was unfair to the Arab population. In 1948, the Jewish leaders declared the creation of the State of Israel. Many Arab countries did not accept this and attacked Israel. This war is known as the First Arab-Israeli War or the War of Independence. When the fighting ended, Israel controlled more land than the United Nations had given it. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinian Arabs fled or were forced to leave their homes. They became refugees in nearby Arab countries and in the areas of Gaza and the West Bank. The years that followed saw more wars and violence. In 1967, during the Six-Day War, Israel captured the West Bank, Gaza Strip, East Jerusalem, and other territories. Palestinians living in these areas came under Israeli military control. Israel also began building settlements, which are communities for Jewish people, in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. These settlements are considered illegal by most of the world, but Israel disagrees. The Palestinian people want their own country in the West Bank and Gaza Strip, with East Jerusalem as their capital. Israel wants to make sure it is safe and recognized as a country by its neighbors. In the late 1980s, Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza Strip began a movement called the First Intifada, which means uprising. They protested against Israeli rule. This led to peace talks in the 1990s, known as the Oslo Accords. For the first time, Israeli and Palestinian leaders shook hands and agreed to work toward peace. The Palestinians were given limited self-rule in parts of the West Bank and Gaza Strip. However, the peace process did not last. There were more outbreaks of violence, including a second intifada in the early 2000s. Trust broke down between the two sides. In 2005, Israel withdrew its soldiers and settlers from the Gaza Strip, but it still controls its borders, airspace, and sea access. The group Hamas, which is opposed to Israel, took control of Gaza and has fought several wars with Israel since then. Today, the situation remains tense and difficult. The West Bank is partly controlled by the Palestinian Authority, but Israel still has a military presence there and continues to build settlements. The Gaza Strip is controlled by Hamas and is under a blockade by Israel and Egypt. Both areas face economic problems, high unemployment, and frequent violence. The main issues that keep the conflict going are: 1. Borders. Israelis and Palestinians do not agree on where the borders between their countries should be. 2. Jerusalem. Both sides want Jerusalem as their capital. The city is holy to Jews, Christians, and Muslims. 3. Refugees. Millions of Palestinians are refugees or descendants of refugees. They want the right to return to their original homes, but Israel fears this would threaten its existence as a Jewish state. 5. This is security. Israel wants to make sure it is safe from attacks, while Palestinians want freedom from military occupation. 52. Settlements. Israeli settlements in the West Bank are considered illegal by most of the world, but Israel continues to expand them. Many countries and organizations have tried to help Israelis and Palestinians make peace, but so far, a lasting solution has not been found. The conflict affects not just the people living in the area, but also the wider Middle East and the world. In summary, the conflict between Palestine and Israel is about land, identity, and rights. It began more than 100 years ago and has led to wars, peace talks, and ongoing struggles. Both sides have suffered, and both want a better future. Understanding the history and main issues helps us see why peace is so difficult, but also why it is so important. By learning about this conflict, we can better understand the hopes and fears of both Israelis and Palestinians, and why finding a peaceful solution remains one of the world's greatest challenges.